Come and enjoy a straightforward, humorous, and enlightened hour on quantum physics to metaphysics on the show that wants you to ask questions. It's time for Ask Patti, live with your host, Patti Conklin.
Hi, folks. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is Patti Conklin with my co-host, Dr. Frenesa Hall. And we've done this before today, huh?
Yes, we have.
We did a wonderful interview this morning. We actually got to be the guest of a new radio show, internet show, and is it Global Health? I don't want to get the name wrong. I think it's globalhealth.com.
Boy, what a pair we are.
I know. No, here we are doing
I have it here. It's globalhealingvision.com. So globalhealingvision.com.
Got it.
And then they have globalhealingradio.com.
Okay. All right. So I was somewhat close.
You were close.
But it was a wonderful interview. We had a wonderful time with Amy and Bethany, and we thank them so much for inviting us on the show.
Yes.
And that was kind of our first take as guests together on a show. So it was great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, folks. I am in Florida working, and Frenesa is in Georgia. So we're not sitting across the desk from each other tonight making funny faces. So I think we'll still do okay. But remember, folks, you can call in at any point during the show if you'd like to talk to us at 877-230-3062. And I think last week we had started talking about many different topics and got lots of phone calls, so we took those, and we always love them. So feel free, again, to give us a call. But we were talking about relationships and personal responsibilities and the chaos in the world. Just how much chaos there seems to be within finances, within relationships. It just seems like everyone has a story of external events taking place amongst friends or amongst themselves that just really seem to be affecting their world. So I'd like to kind of continue on with that theme tonight in terms of how do we think. One of the things that just stands out so much for me, and I'll get Frenesa here to talk about it in a few minutes from a medical standpoint, but how what we think really affects our lives and our bodies. And how when we have different sicknesses or different emotional upsets, our body frequently is the hit or takes the hit. And a lot of times we don't even understand that it's our emotional or thought behavior or external stress that's creating the problems within our body. And so much of it seems like, begins in the immune system and the lymphatic system.
Well, certainly the immune system seems to be the first thing that takes a hit.
Uh-huh.
I think it's probably because the immune system isn't really critically necessary,
right,
for day-to-day living.
Yes.
You have to have your brain, you have to have your heart and your lungs to stay alive minute to minute. Whereas if you're not immediately threatened by some infection, your immune system's kind of expendable.
Yeah. And so what do you do? I mean, what do you take to just really keep a healthy immune system? Because so much of life, it's affecting that immune system. And when we start dealing with disease, I'm working with a lady here in Florida who really has a compromised immune system, and it's really been years of adrenal fatigue setting in, and then other ailments kind of crept in, and she's dealing with some full-blown stuff now. But her immune system is still not doing what it needs to do. So from a supplement point of view, what would people take?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I think when you have a person that's at this stage of the game, it's a bigger picture than just taking a supplement. When you're stressed long term like that, it's sort of like you need additional nutrients because your system is revved up. Okay, so she probably has multiple nutritional deficiencies that would need to be corrected, because that's going to be the foundation for optimal functioning. Right. There are particular nutrients that are important for the immune system. All of them are important for the immune system, really. Right. But, vitamin C, zinc, vitamin A, vitamin D, the list goes on. Right. I think more importantly, someone in this kind of shape, I think this is where nutritional testing really comes in handy. Right. Because then you can direct your therapeutic nutritional intervention exactly where they need it. That's why I love the two tests, the urine organics, which we've spoken about from Metametrics, and also the SpectraCell FIA, which from SpectraCell. Right. Because then you know for that individual where their needs are. And it's interesting in the results that you get from the urine organics panel, which I think would be perfect for this individual. It will give you a recommendation of how much of particular nutrients you need. And so it gives you sort of a baseline. Here's sort of where you start as far as daily nutritional supplementation with vitamins, minerals, and cofactors. Right. And here you need additional of these particular factors and this much. So it tells you exactly what that individual needs and helps you design a nutritional approach that will help correct that person's problem. Right. I think in general, for the average person that's trying to stay ahead of the game, I can certainly say that you got to eat right, and you have to get the sugar out of your diet. Right. Sugar has been shown to lower your immune function. I can't remember the exact number of grams, but I think it's 100 grams of sugar, which is very easy to do. Right. Not even sugar, refined carbohydrates. So like a Coke, a Big Mac, and fries will probably get you over that 100 gram of carbohydrate mark. The refined carbohydrates, the ones that turn to sugar quickly. Well, for the next 4 hours, your white blood cells will be sluggish. And they'll be sluggish by approximately 50% of normal. And it will last 5 hours. Yeah. So one of the top things is to avoid the refined carbohydrates and particularly the sugars. Right. Because you will continually make your white blood cells not function. Right. Let me interject for a minute, because we've got Shirley waiting on the line from Texas. Shirley. So let's pop in here, and then we'll continue that line of thought. Shirley, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you. I'd like
Shirley?
to find out. Can you hear me?
All right. Well, we'll get Shirley.
Okay.
Pardon?
We lost her.
Yeah. No, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Shirley.
There.
Hi.
What can we help you with tonight?
I have a question.
Okay.
When a person comes to you, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. I moved out of the computer room so you could hear me. When a person comes to you, like with severe gastritis, but I'm also having a lot of memory loss, when you do the cellular cleansing, will that affect also the memory or help their memory?
Sure. I mean, everything gets affected, and because you're cleaning memories out from the cells, they're not cleaning them out, neutralizing them is a better word. And so, for me, everything that's happening in your body is a direct result of compilations of behaviors and thought patterns, and and obviously on top of that, nutrition and how we've lived everyday life.
That's right. I haven't been able an orange or any kind of fruit in years. due to this gastritis.
Yeah.
And it's really bad.
This is the thing that people need to keep in mind, whether they're doing alternative medicine or Western traditional medicine, is that at all times, there's no guarantees. You fluctuate, you work with whatever you've got, you do the baseline, and then you adjust from there. And so that's what happens. A lot of people with allergies or gastral upset, when you're neutralizing out the memories, then you're also changing that whole dynamic. So that's what the goal would be. And then certainly when you get into the visualization at the end of the healing pools, then you're really working directly with your body in doing a very powerful visualization to help your body continue to heal. And that's certainly the goal.
Right. As an ex-ICU nurse, I did all of the Western traditional stuff. Then I went to a Chinese that uses electrical impulse instead of needles.
Right.
Said that every system in my body was fine. The only problem I've got is the gas. And I'm 74.
Yeah. Well, it just behooves you to just, continue working with different things. And again, if your systems are clear, I'm still looking at what memories need to be neutralized out from your life to make life a little bit easier for you.
Right.
Okay? Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we've got Jenny in Kentucky. So we'll go on with Jenny. How are you, Jenny?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you.
Doing wonderful. No problem. What can we help you with?
Well, my question is, I have struggled with depression most of my adult life, and I was taking an antidepressant for probably 15 years, and in December I took myself off of the antidepressant because I'm interested in healing myself and not just medicating myself, and I've been real irritable and hard to live with. I am taking 5 HTP, and I just wanted to see if you had any other suggestions.
Well, question.
Pardon, it was a great question. Do you want to go ahead and take your response first? Okay.
I just want to get more information. Are you working with someone, a professional?
No. Are
you just doing this on your own?
Yeah, I am. I did talk to someone who's a naturopath. I was going to see her, but I stopped going. But she's the one that suggested I start taking the 5-HTP.
Okay, but you're not being monitored by her, and she's not working directly with you to supervise your therapy.
No.
Okay, that would be the first thing I would suggest, that you work with someone who is knowledgeable so that you are not just trying something here or there. There's a plan and there's a period to monitor, to alter the plan, and so forth. I would very, very strongly do not recommend people with depression work on their own.
Well, and the other challenge, if I can insert, is if I heard you correctly, you were on medication until December, and then you stopped. Yeah. And that's really challenging from your body. It really takes an amount of time to start cutting things back so your body can adjust, because it really gets used to having the antidepressants, and it throws off all the hormones and just all of the other brain functions that need to happen. Have you been in therapy before?
Yes.
Yeah. So, this is the challenge. I really agree with Frenesa that you have to be monitored by someone, whether it's an alternative practitioner like a naturopath, or someone like Frenesa, who does Western and Eastern, is very knowledgeable in both fields of study, so that you can get the best help that you deserve. But you've got to remember that there's a definite illness going on here between the depression and the anorexia. And so it's not something that you can just I'm just going to make, pardon?
I'm not anorexic.
Or not anorexic. What was the word then?
The word.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were fading in and out, so I thought you said depression and anorexia. So that's where all my buttons were going off. But work with a naturopath. The one area of your body that I really would like someone to pay attention to is your liver area and your kidney, especially your right kidney, and work with those two areas. And I think that there's other things, and Frenesa's more of the person for this question, that she could be doing in addition to what she's taking, the HTTP.
Right.
HTTP.
Well, again, this gets back to a more comprehensive approach. Certainly nutrition plays a huge factor in depression. The B vitamins are critical for serotonin production, not just 5-HTP. You have to actually convert the 5-HTP through a series of chemical steps to become serotonin. But if you don't have adequate B vitamins, it's not going to work either. So, there really needs to be a more holistic approach to this. And as we were talking about earlier in the show we recorded, nutrition is sort of that foundation. So I would say, what's going on nutritionally. B vitamins certainly are something that I recommend often in patients that have depression. Protein is also important because the proteins break down into amino acids, and amino acids are important for serotonin production. And also, we talked earlier with another person about adrenal fatigue.
Right.
If your adrenal glands are fatigued and not functioning optimally, that would need to be corrected. So it's really hard for me to say, just take this supplement.
Right.
We really need
more of a workup,
comprehensive history, and maybe some testing to see what all is going on.
But the good news is, Jenny, that things can happen holistically with alternative medicine. And, I'm also a firm believer in moving frequency of just asking your body, what color do I need to remove my depression, and start working with that. And make sure you're thanking your body, because all of the self-talk helps. It's hard when you're depressed to move into the self-talk. But if you can give yourself, maybe set the timer so that on the hour, 1 minute, every hour during the course of the day, you're thanking your body and saying something positive to it, and possibly moving colors. But I really want you to stay focused and stay positive, because there's a lot of different things you can do. Okay?
Yeah, I have been trying to do that, yeah.
Well, let's just work with it a little bit more, but work with somebody a little bit more consistently so that they can really keep track of what's happening with you, so you can live a really comfortable life.
Okay. How do you know if you've gotten a good homeopath? How can you tell if the person is good at what they do?
Well, I think it's really important to trust your intuition. And if your homeopath or naturopath seems to really be in sync with you and is listening to you and has some good steps to move forward, then I think that that's somebody who's comfortable. Referral is always great. Ask your friends, ask around, and talk to people. We have an incredible homeopath who's a good friend of both of ours, who I think she also works over the phone, doesn't Susan?
I think she does.
And she's incredible. So, if you'd like to get her information, you can certainly email me or email Frenesa and get that information. But referrals, if they're listening to you, if they have a good plan, and you feel comfortable with them, stay there. Okay? But if you're not comfortable with them, move on. Find somebody else.
Okay. Thank you both so very much.
You're welcome. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Have a nice evening. All right,
you
bye-bye.
too now. All right, we've got Gabriela from California. Hi there.
Hi, Patti.
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Well,
wonderful.
I'm here in Palm Springs, and you were here.
That's right.
Way back when?
Way back in September, yeah. What can we help you with?
Well, I have a burning question. My birthday is coming up on Friday.
Wow, so happy birthday.
Thank you. I wanted to try to ask this before I turn. Well, I won't say how old it be.
Okay.
But in any case, I wanted to clarify something you had said in an archive I listened to way back when about the balance of positive and negative experiences on Earth. Because somehow, I don't know if I heard it wrong, because I'm thinking maybe I'm supposed to take care of the negative aspect, for this life, and I hope that's not true, but I'm kind of wondering, I wanted to clarify that, if you remember saying anything like that.
Oh, my goodness.
About there's a balance of people have to experience negative on the Earth, and then an opposite.
Absolutely. Duality has to exist. And so you don't understand what light is without dark, and you don't understand what good is without bad, and you don't understand how good you can be until you really understand how bad you can be. Now, that doesn't mean you need to act out. It doesn't mean that you have to stay in that experience. If you understand that every experience that you have is just that, it's an experience. Think of it this way. If you're watching a sunrise, and you have no ability to think, you have no ability to hear, you have no ability to speak, there's no comprehension, all you have is sight, all you can do is see with no other function, then the sunrise is simply a sunrise. It's your language, it's your words that gives expression to what it is you're looking at. And so when we look at life, we may have an experience that it's easy to classify as bad, but what you do is you change your perception and understand that it's an experience that you're going through, and it's neither good nor bad, and it begins to neutralize. So when we start thinking about, negatives, we have to really remember there's no such thing as a negative, and there's no such thing as a positive. There's simply experiences. And you choose whether or not it's a good or bad experience by the words that you're giving it. Okay? So if you're feeling an extremely challenged time in life, then it's time for you to understand that as you're looking through a challenging time in your life, or you feel like you're connecting with bad, nothing bad can happen that good isn't a part of. So you shift your focus, you shift your perception from the bad into what is good about the experience. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, that makes it a lot better. So that means that if I just keep working on, just making things better and taking care of any issues, because I did have the cellular cleansing with you way back when. So if I just keep up with the color works and anything, it doesn't mean that I don't have any huge health problems or anything. Like I'm not dealing with any cancers or anything like that.
Right.
It's mostly just, I guess, just experiences that happen to me that I'm like, well, it'd be nice to not be experiencing those things anymore, or just having money problems or whatever.
And that would be wonderful. But this is reality. We grow from those experiences that are challenging because they make us uncomfortable enough that we sit back and go, I don't want to experience this anymore. What do I need to do to change it? Mm-hmm. Because when the experiences are all positive, mm-hmm. then you're not sitting around going, how do I change life? How do I grow? You just enjoy. So every single one of us, and I don't care who we are going to end up with times where we're going to feel challenged and feel like it's not the best experience that we wanted to go through. But if you can keep your focus on the end result, which is growth, which is just you as a soul and as a human being growing and learning, that's what the focus stays. Because remember, there's nothing bad that's happening that good isn't happening at the same time, even within the same event, okay? So it's not like you need a different event to make things happy. It's the same event, but look for the duality of the event. What's the good that's coming out of the bad? So look at that. And yes, use your color works. Use your healing pools. Get in there and really begin washing out bad thoughts. Wash out. And remember, unzip your skin and wash out those thoughts that you feel are holding you back. And it's really about working and letting go and understanding that the way you change a bad event is changing the perception. And it's that simple. Don't make it more complex.
Okay. So that means that I don't have to think to myself, well, this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life, so I just got to dig my heels in. I can actually, make it into more of a positive thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know, I feel like I agreed to something, and I really want to change that. I feel I've, learned enough about one aspect, so it'd be nice to learn the other.
Remember, just keep in mind, there is no such thing as a bad thing, and there's no such thing as a good thing. It's just a thing. Yeah. And how you think about it decides and denotes whether or not it's bad or good. So change how you're thinking. A lot of people, if they're going through a lot of emotional turmoil or physical turmoil, feel like they signed up for something, a lifetime to be really challenging and just really severe. And I just don't believe that. Yeah. I just don't believe that. I believe that we can change our perception. The events themselves may play out the same, but how we think about them is what gets us through and starts shifting the event that's really challenging to deal with into better events.
That's good, because I thought I was stuck with
no, you're
something,
not.
I think at this point it wouldn't help anybody if I was stuck like that anyways. Cause,
we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Frenesa and I were doing a show a couple of weeks ago, and I had said that I had given somebody a piece of homework after a cellular because she worried about everybody and everything that was going on and whether or not it was, good, bad stuff, some of the same stuff that you're dealing with. Yeah. And I asked her to send me an email every evening, and what she needed to do was she needed to sit down and say to herself, who benefited from my worry today? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And she couldn't write down anybody because nobody benefits from it. It just stops you. So understand that worrying and having negative thoughts is just going to stop your flow. So choose to change the thought. Okay?
Change the thought. Change the thought. Okay.
Change the thought. There's as much good as there is bad. Look and focus at the good, not the bad. Okay?
That's good. Now I have to ask you.
Yeah.
It's my birthday. Do you have time to kind of scan me and give me any pointers? Because I think I'm feeling better. I'm feeling pretty good about I'm turning the big one now. I don't know if I need to change anything because I'm really trying to take care of diet, and I think most of my situation is really my thinking. So maybe that's.
I think you're right, and you're going to stop trying. You're just going to do and change your thoughts
and change what you say.
Exactly. Change what you're saying and what you're thinking, and just remember that everything can be worded in a positive. So just really pay attention to how you're thinking, what you're saying, and maybe even make a journal for the next 10 days. at the end of the day about what you experienced. And if you reread it and it looks like it's negative, then I want you to rewrite it into a positive. And do that every day for the next 10 days and see if that doesn't begin changing how you're thinking about the event. Okay? But I in looking at you with the 1 minute skivvy, you're looking really good. So keep doing what you're doing and begin changing the thoughts.
All right, Patti. Well, thank you, and I love the show, and I'll keep on listening.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Wow, I think we have a breather here for a minute, and it's already 7:34, so I'm just, I think we'll go to break now.
Yeah, I think so.
And we'll see you folks on the other side. Thanks so much. Hi, folks. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and being a part of our show. We just always, always, always love that. I love your questions, love having you call in, and love answering it to the best of our abilities.
Yes.
And just we enjoy your phone calls, so feel free to give us a call. And we're really talking about, we started talking tonight about chaos, which kind of goes right into Gabriela's question about,
the immune system that gets hit first.
Well, yeah, the system that gets hit first and the thoughts that kind of end us, into an illness, and really looking at that immune system and how it's getting hit. And one of the things that I've always noticed, just in terms of where the immune system for me energetically begins, which is right on top of the thymus gland, which is also where your soul is. So if your soul starts getting shut down or suppressed at an early age, it also shuts down the immune system. And, I always tell people to counteract that, we all need 20 to 30 minutes every day of just laughter. Whatever it is that makes us laugh, 20 to 30 minutes can really counter 10 hours of massive stress. And it's really amazing to look at our lives and how we think, because in order to get healthy, we have to reverse that. But look at a huge building. How many years does it take to build a skyscraper? And yet we can bring it down in a matter of minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And so we look at, you're like, what's the analogy here? We can spend so much of our life making things happy and building a good life for ourselves. And we can feel like in a matter of minutes it's destroyed.
That's right.
And we really have to look at how are we thinking, because the negative thought, I'm tentative to use that word, but it's the word most people understand. But a thought that's less than unconditional is really going to start that cascade of making things fall apart. So when we're looking at it from a holistic standpoint or a medical standpoint, we talked about nutrition. What about lymphatic massage? What about acupuncture? Are there other modalities that just help release some of that stress and pressure and
certainly
get things healthy?
I think massage, whether it's lymphatic or not. There's a lot of research in massage and the power of touch, and so massage is a great way to relax, to have an hour to yourself. Yeah. It also has a healing effect having someone touch you. Certainly, acupuncture is moving energy. Yeah. And as you say, it's all energy till it's not.
Right, until it's not.
And so, certainly, but I would say this, at least in my mind, our physical body has to have nutrition. And so you have to, I believe, start there in a sense. Not that you just do it and then do something else afterwards, but you can't neglect that and just go out and get acupuncture and massage. and then eat wingdings. You know?
Right. Darn.
Certainly.
Darn.
But certainly, you know, it may be just walking barefoot in your backyard and breathing in the sunshine for 20 minutes, you know, and just, you know, bonding with nature.
Right.
You know, so it doesn't have to be a fancy...
and expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah, it can be very simple.
Right, but the key here is that you have to take the time to do it.
Right. Absolutely. Because people can get really caught up in everyday life, and you and I are
guilty.
You know, guilty of it at times, and
fortunately we help keep each other in check.
Exactly. And that's where friends come in, is being able to you know, help each other when life is getting too taxing or we're not taking enough time for ourselves. You know, one of the things that I'll share is, and I think I've shared it before, but, you know, when I'm out on the road, when I get home, all I want to do is be home. And so Frenesa and all of my other friends on the lake have really worked hard over the last 2 years in encouraging me to come out to our little get-togethers. And they're nothing major, you know, just dinners or getting out in the boat on the lake or whatever. But it was really challenging for me to be around other people when I was off the road. And as much as I loved my friends, and with perseverance, they just kept at me, you know, after the 10th invitation, and I'm turning it down, they didn't stop. And I think that that's so critical. If we've got friends who are a little withdrawn and aren't socializing a great deal, then, you know, have the patience and have the love to keep inviting them and not take it personally that they're not showing up. But just having the invitation coming out, I know after, you know, the last 2 or 3 years, I feel badly now if I turn down the invitation. So I'm more willing to make the effort.
You're just, you just know how much we're going to harass you.
I just didn't.
You just give up sooner.
I just didn't. But it's so important, and I know that I have grown because of it, because I can really be a hermit when I'm home. So, you know, it's really understanding what we all need as friends, and it doesn't matter whether that's best friends within an intimate relationship or best friends as just friends. We all need the encouragement and love and support, and sometimes more than others.
Right.
But that makes sense. However, you have to be willing to start making the steps on your own also. That it's not up to somebody else to make you happy.
Right.
And, you know, your self-esteem and who you are and so forth really needs to come from within you. And your friends can assist and your partners can assist that. But you're the one who has to take that ultimate step forward in making a change in your life, and that's going to increase your immune system and just get things flowing. And I think the other thing I really want to put in here, because I know this is going to sound really weird, because there's like a dozen people who are listening to the show right now who are really dehydrated. Let's talk about the value of water.
Oh my gosh, water, 60% of our body. And I don't even remember what percentage of the earth is water.
Probably about the same.
Water is essential. It's important,
and as clear liquid, right? Not just you know, teas.
No. Water, just plain
water.
Old water.
Plain old
not
water.
Just water that's in something else.
Right.
It's important. Hydration is important for everything, for the proper functioning of every cell.
Right.
The brain is particularly sensitive to dehydration. Oftentimes, one of the leading causes of headache is dehydration.
Right.
So many times, if you have a headache, just drink some water, and it's amazing. It will go away.
Yeah.
But think of it this way. Every cell has a cell membrane around it, holding all of the contents in and where all those chemical reactions, well, most of the chemical reactions occur. And inside the cell is fluid.
Right.
And so things have to come into the cell and get into that fluid and then move around and maybe get into the mitochondria or the energy engine of the cell.
Right.
And waste has to move out and then get to the cell membrane to get pumped out of the cell.
Right.
Well,
it's a lot of work.
Yes, it is a lot of work. And you can imagine that if that water that should be in that cell is contracted, there's less of it in there, then how well is waste supposed to get out and nutrients supposed to get in? How are they going to get to do that?
Right.
So for optimal function, you've got to be hydrated.
And how quickly, I know I'm just throwing these questions out of the blue because I'm interested. How quickly, when you drink water, does your body start to hydrate?
Almost instantly.
That's what I thought.
You drink a bottle of water or two.
Yeah.
How soon after that do you have to go to the bathroom?
Right.
Right. It goes in, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But did you know that by the time you're thirsty, by the time you sense thirst,
you're already dehydrated?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thirst is not a good indicator of hydration status.
Right.
What we really need to do is just drink water regularly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's not to say that having a cup of green tea doesn't get some water into your system.
Right.
But you need water in that mix as well.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And there's different studies that tell us that too much water is bad, that we can I remember that radio show where they had the contest of drinking all the water, and the woman actually died from drinking so much water, and obviously that's
drinking
not gallons of water
over a short period of time.
Right.
And what happens is she diluted her system so much that she had imbalances in sodium.
Yeah.
And that's deadly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes.
Be prudent.
Exactly. Nothing in excess is good for us.
Right. Right. Everything in a moderate amount, is going to be okay. That we don't really need to worry about, having that piece of pizza once in a while and so on. If our diet normally is good, don't be radical about it. Just really, really understand your body, work with your body, understand what it's saying. Is just such a helpful tool.
Right.
I know that we had discussed this before, but I really want to just kind of bring us back to it in terms of an everyday supplement. A lot of people will do an everyday vitamin or nutritional supplement. Is there like any one thing, or is our bodies so different that they all need different things?
No, I think there are some basic things that everybody needs, and then each individual, based on their genetic makeup, their activity level, different things they're doing. If you're drinking a lot of alcohol or you're smoking, you're going to put different metabolic demands on your system. If you're excessively stressed, that'll be a different demand on your system. But I think this is my opinion. It's not. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
A multivitamin and multimineral and an omega-3 fatty acid, sort of, to me, is your standard starting point.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about quality in nutritional supplements. That really is extremely important because it doesn't do you much good if most of that vitamin passes through your GI tract and doesn't get absorbed.
Right.
So quality is an issue.
Yeah.
That's where working with a healthcare provider, particularly chiropractors and naturopaths, they have access to the higher quality nutritional supplements that are out there.
Right.
Now, on my website, if you go to my resources link, there are...
Let's do that real quick.
Okay, well, website is
mobile-medicine.net.
Mobile-, not underscore, medicine.net, and then you go to resource links, and Amerisciences is one company that's up there. They have an excellent multivitamin with multi-minerals and fish oil in a packet with the men's formula and a women's formula. I think that's an excellent product for the average person, just as a foundation. For younger people, and this may sound a little weird, but the prenatal vitamin with the fish oil is actually ideal for, say, adolescents, maybe young adults.
Right.
There are other things in the adult formula that younger people really don't need. There are other companies that I work with. You'd have to get in touch with me because those companies will not sell direct to an individual.
Right. Right.
And then there are
But they really do have some good products.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have talked to clients and other folks that have taken the products and have felt the changes. I personally have had excellent results with their omega-3s and their joint products.
Yeah.
But it really is important to get quality product.
Right. I was just going to say that really makes a huge difference between buying from a reputable provider versus your grocery store.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no telling what's on the shelf of a grocery store. The average amount of a vitamin that's over the counter that can get absorbed into your system is 25 to 50%.
Wow.
That's pitiful.
That's just so low.
So,
wow.
People will say, well, other things are expensive, and say, but, we've got to get past, not that cost isn't important.
Exactly.
But cost effective.
Right.
That's what we should be looking at.
Right.
So if only 25% of what's cheap is getting into your system, essentially you need 4 times of that.
Right.
To get enough of what you need. So, this is, one of the other callers earlier, and I just want to stress this. It really is important to work with a healthcare professional, whether it's in the complementary or the allopathic world or a combination.
Right.
The internet is full of information, and I joke with patients sometimes because they'll come in and they'll say, well, Dr. Hall, I was reading XYZ, and I think I have such and such and such, so I want you to do XYZ tests. And I kind of go, well, gee, how about letting me play doctor today?
Right.
If it were that easy,
right,
we wouldn't need doctors. We wouldn't need naturopaths. We wouldn't need nutritional therapists. We wouldn't need, chiropractors and acupuncturists.
Right.
There are things that we learn in training and also just experience.
Exactly.
That really can help direct a person down the right path. And that's not to say that, a patient comes to see me and then I have the perfect plan and, in 6 weeks you're back to, normal.
Yeah.
I would never say that because everybody's different. But there are certainly, I think it is a more direct path to improvement, working with a healthcare professional.
Right, and somebody who really gets you, because we're all so different.
Right.
I am fortunate to have you as a friend and as a physician a lot of times of just guiding me in the right place, because as weird, eccentric as my body can be, you understand that it's weird and eccentric.
Right.
And that I may not respond the way that a lot of people do. But I think that people need to remember every single body is unique.
Yes.
And your body is unique in its way, as mine is in mine.
Yes.
And it's so vital to find someone who gets that. Who looks at you as the individual and can really listen and make assessments according to what your body is, not what the standard is.
Right. And you also understand that articles written for lay people are typically very general. Exactly.
And not as specific as we need to, as they can be certainly for the specialists in that area. Well, that's a lot of good information, because it really is important. And I think the adjunct I'm going to throw in here, we've only got 2 minutes left. I
can't believe it.
Don't know where the hour goes. But the other adjunct I'd put in here is just remember, doctors are not God. Naturopaths are not God. That you pay attention to your body. You have personal responsibility to pay attention to your own body. And if you feel like there's something that's not working correctly or doesn't feel right, and you talk to your primary care practitioner, whether that's Eastern or Western, and they're not listening, go elsewhere. Trust your body. Trust your body to understand, because I've just seen it all too many times, and I'm sure you have also.
Right. Well, I get a lot of patients that way.
Yeah.
Because the practitioner just didn't pay attention to what they said.
And they knew that there was a problem, and they knew, and a lot of times by the time they get to us, they're in serious trouble. We're in the last minute. So again, folks, thank you so much for listening to us tonight and being a part of the show. We love having you with us. And Frenesa, as always, thank you so much for co-hosting and being a part of the show.
It's great fun. I enjoy the calls, and I learn a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So have a wonderful week, and join us next week for Ask Patti Live. Good night.